When we returned to Shinsengumi headquarters, Sanan-san had a number of less than pleasant words for us because he would! We kneeled for some time as the colonel berated us before Okita finally spoke up.
そんなに怒ることないじゃないですか。僕たちは長州の患者を捕まえてきたわけだし。
When the fight was over, we discovered a massive arms cache and confiscated the entire thing. No one bothered to explain to me what was happening, however, and I was utterly lost.
怒ることではない。沖田君は面白いことを言いますね。マスやキエモンと身分を偽っている人間は長州の患者である古高俊太郎だった。我々新選組はその事実を知った上で彼を泳がせていた。
その通りですけど、でも捕まえるしかない状況だったんですよ。
まあ、宗司の言う通り、ある意味では大手柄だろうな。
でも古高を泳がせるために頑張ってた島田君や山崎君に悪いと思わないわけ？
The corners of Heisuke's mouth twitched into a smile, but Shimada interrupted him to continue.
東堂君のお気持ちもありがたいですが、我々のことはあまり気にしないでください。自分らも古高に対して手詰まりでしたから、沖田君たちが動いてくれて助かりましたよ。
Yamazaki nodded in silent agreement.
古高捕獲はすでに済まされた事柄です。その結果に不満を述べるつもりはありません。
お前ら首相な奴らだね。それに引き換え宗司は。
It didn't seem Nagakura was going to let Okita get away without rubbing his mistake in his face. Ah, Nagakura, we love you for that. Both Kai Shimada and Susumu Yamazaki serve as Shinsengumi officers and spies under Hijikata-san. Aside from the captains who stay in the Yagi residence, they are some of the very few people entrusted with the knowledge of my situation. In other words, these men were highly valued officers within the organization. Despite their resounding support, I felt a rush of guilt sweep over me, and I spoke up. I'm so sorry. It's all my fault. Some Ronin were causing trouble, so I tried to get out of the way. I got separated from Okita in the crowd, and I didn't go right back to him. Before I really realized what was going on, someone just started shouting at me.
君への監督不行き届きは誰の責任ですか?
He glared at me, his eyes hard and angry, and my throat tightly clenched into dryness.
一番組組長が監視対象を見失うなど、まったく情けないこともあったものですね。
When I'd first met him, Sanan had been nice, if a little quiet. After his injury, however, it was as if he'd become an entirely different man.
外出を許可したのは俺だ。こいつらばかり責めないでやってくれ。
Sanan looked up as Hijikata walked into the room. He gave the commander a tight-war smile, but only got a peaceful, impartial glance in return.
土方さんが来たってことは、古高の拷問も終わったのか？
ああ。風の強い日を選んで、京の都に火を放ち、あわよくば天皇を長州へ連れ出す。それが奴らの目的だ。
His voice was calm and measured, but we all felt the import of his words.
町に火を放つだ？長州の奴ら、頭のネジが緩んでるんじゃねえの？
それ単に天使様を誘拐するってことだろ？尊王とか言ってるくせにやることはめちゃくちゃだよな。
何にせよ、見過ごせるものではない。
奴らの会合は今夜行われる可能性が高い。お前たちも出動準備を整えておく。
承知しました、副長。
よっしゃ、腕が鳴るぜ。
Even though each man displayed his professionalism differently, they were all clearly prepared. As I quieted down, Hijikata turned towards me as if he only had just noticed my presence.
それから行動さんの件だ。西国の者と一緒にマスヤに来たことがあるらしい。
What?
今日で見たっていう話は本当だったってことだ。だがそれだけだ。
My father with someone from the West? When my father went missing in Kyoto, how would he be with someone from the West? But no one had an answer for me. Preparations for the raid began immediately. Within moments, the compound was like a beehive, with soldiers and officers running back and forth. The tension felt thick enough to cut with a knife. I found it affecting me, despite my best efforts. My encounter at Masa's created some of their current headache, and I'd hoped to make up for it. Hey, can I... It became clear to me that I had very little to offer when it came to preparing for a raid. At the end of the day, all I could do was stay quietly to the side to avoid being a burden. Just then, I heard someone's voice out of the blue.
動ける隊士が足りていない。近藤さんの隊は10名で動くそうだ。
俺ら土方さんの隊は24人だったか。隊士の半分が腹痛って笑えねえよな。
Ah, that's right. There were a handful of men who were bedridden from a swift food poisoning epidemic, leaving them short-handed in battle. They planned on dividing the troops in half. Kondo's troop will go to Ikeda-in, or Ikeda. Wait. Ikeda-in, and Hijikata's troop will head to Shikoku-in.
そういえば、あいつらは使わないのか。夜の任務だし、うってつけだと思うんだが。
Them?
お前らが減らしたけど、まだ何人か残ってるはずだろう。
しばらく実戦から遠ざけるらしい。調整に手間取っていると聞いたが、血に触れるたび俺たちの指示も聞かずに狂われてはたまらん。
What? I swore I heard something before about a reaction to blood, but this was something I was not supposed to hear. The two men hadn't realized that I was listening to their conversation. But it was crucial that I don't say anything.
奴らも浮かばれねえな。戦うために選んだ道だろうに。
3. 浮かばれないという表現は死んだ者に対して使うものだろう。
ああ、表向きは死んだことになってるが、本当は死んじゃいないしな。むしろめったなことじゃ死なねえし。
There was no doubt that what I was hearing was not meant for my ears. I shoved my fingers into my ears and closed my eyes tightly. The best I could do was make sure I didn't hear anything else.
ん？雪村君、こんなところで何をしているのかね。
My eyes flew open to see Kondo in front of me. I couldn't just sit there. I told him the truth, how I felt so useless. I left my room to find some way to help.
なるほどな。君の気持ちはよくわかる。打ち入り前で皆も高揚しているしな。
Excited? More like bloodthirsty, to be honest.
どうかね。君も一緒に来るか。
What? That was not what I expected him to say. You mean go on a raid with you? I don't know what I could...
実は腹を壊して動けない大使が多くてな。人手が足りんのだ。伝令役になってもらえるとありがたいんだが、もちろん君に無理はさせん。
You raised a good point. Now that he mentioned it, I did remember hearing that Kondo-san's troop only had 10 people in it. Well, alright. If I'll just be a messenger. His face split into a grin, and I found myself on the way to the Okita Inn to accompany their raid. Ugh. Kondo-san's presence was revealing, and his good nature gave me comfort in asking him a question. Kondo-san, your uniform is different than the one your other men wear. Shinsengumi's unique light blue uniform made it so anyone in Kyoto would recognize them. However, Kondo-san's uniform was white, almost cream, setting him apart from his men.
これか？暗いところに押し入った時にすぐに仲間だとわかるようにな。
I see. I didn't know the corpse uniform came in so many varieties. The usual uniform was well-fitting, and the colors stood out, but this white uniform was more elegant. I smiled while I looked at his uniform, and I braced myself for what was to come. Hour of the Dog! After we arrived at Ikeda, I was sent off on several short errands nearby. I returned to hear Nagakura talking to Okita.
こっちが当たりか。まさか長州藩邸のすぐ裏で会合とはな。
僕は最初からこっちだと思ってたけど、奴らは今までも頻繁に池田屋を使ったし。
だからって古高が捕まった晩にわざわざ普段と同じ場所で集まるか？普通は場所を変えるだろう、常識的に考えて。
じゃあ奴らには常識がなかったんだね。実際こうして池田屋で会合してるわけだし。
Nagakura and Okita's conversation was very lighthearted, which didn't quite suit the subject matter. Perhaps the Chosu were trying to trick the Shinsengumi. I certainly wouldn't have known. Whatever the reason for their behavior, however, neither Nagakura nor Okita seemed worried. Heisuke noticed me as I approached and jogged over.
どうだった？会津藩とか諸次第の役人まだ来てなかった。
To be honest, I didn't really see anyone nearby.
日暮れ頃にはとっくに連絡してたってのに、まだ動いてないとか何やってんだ
よ。落ち着けよ、平助。
The larger man smacked Heisuke playfully on the shoulder with a bark of laughter.
あんな奴ら役に立たねえんだから、来ても来なくても一緒だろ。
だけどさ、新八さん、俺らだけで突入とか無謀だと思わねえの
？Heisuke frowned, and Takeda, who was on standby behind Heisuke, nodded in agreement.
この人数で踏み込むなど無謀にも程がある。ここは会津藩の援軍を待つべきかと。
武田君がそう言うなら分かった。もう少しだけ待ってみよう。
But no matter how long we waited, the officials never came. Hour of the Boar. I looked up at the sky. The moon inched itself further across the sky since we arrived at the Okita Inn.
さすがにこれはちょっと遅すぎるな。
近藤さん、どうします？これでミスミス逃がしちゃったら無様ですよ。
The chief had been quiet all this time, but when Okita addressed him, he finally stood up to speak.
これ以上は待てん。宗司、長倉君、東堂君、俺についてきてくれ。
Okita nodded quietly but firmly.
では、私は表口を固めますから、皆さんご存分にどうぞ。
は？武田さん来ないつもりかよ。
いいからいいから。中が暗くて間違って切られても困るし。あ、こっちが間違って切っちゃうかも。
沖田君、それはどういうことかな？
まあまあ、突っ込むのは気心が知れた方がいいだろう。というわけだから、武田さんは外を頼むぜ。
雪村君、少し池田屋から離れていてくれるか。ここは危険だ。老子が降りてくるかもしれん。もっとも逃がすつもりはないがな。
He stood up, smiled curtly, and ran to the inn.